Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Entertainment Roadmap. Today we are joined by the amazing Ashley Dulaney. Hello, Ashley. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good, good. We're so excited to speak with you. And I think one thing that popped out on your journey was that you majored in acting in college. So, what was it like majoring in acting, and how does that differ from being a working actor?
Oh my gosh. Not a lot different, really. I want to be totally honest. I think that when I got my BFA in acting, I loved that I had the opportunity to study in school for something that I actually wanted to do. That was a big plus because so many of my friends went to college and they just did it to get a degree, and it wasn't something that they actually even wanted. So I felt really lucky to get to do what I wanted to do and be close to home, which was really important to me because I knew I would spend the rest of my life probably away from home. So I wanted to be as close to my family as I could for as long as possible. And the big difference is like truth. I think my BFA was more cutthroat than Los Angeles. Like it is, I will say I learned a very valuable lesson, and it was that everyone in my BFA, wonderful humans, it was the most competitive environment, and I made a choice becoming a professional actor that I didn't have to compete with anyone else in the room. It was a choice. And had I not had that experience in college, I think maybe my trajectory and life as an actor would have maybe felt differently every time I was in the room and you see girls that look exactly like you and they're not your competition still. And I don't know if I would have learned that lesson had I not had the college experience.
So I know this is like sometimes a big debate in the industry, like to go to college for acting and even just the whole entertainment. Like me and
Yeah.
Noah both went for film. And there's people who don't go for film and they jump right in and do well. And there's people who do go and it kind of doesn't work out right away. So do you regret your college experience, or do you think that's something that was so important to you?
I don't regret it at all. And I will say, when I first moved out to LA, I got really terrible advice. I had someone say to me, "Oh my gosh, well, you shouldn't have gone to college because those were wasted years, and like we could have had you." And I, for a second, being a human, I was like, "Oh no, every wrong choice in my life." And then I realized, as I did start working and I did, start building my career, and I realized you're in control of that. I think everybody's destiny is different. Everybody's trajectory is different. You go through your own pathways. Had I moved to LA or New York right out of high school, I don't know that I would be the human I am today. I don't even know that I'd still want to be an actor. I think I learned some really core things while I was still developing as a person that prepared me to do this for the rest of my life. And I don't know if I would have had that being a child, which is 18 is a child. So I don't know. I would still be here if I hadn't made a decision that changed kind of that path. So you can't regret anything.
That's great advice. And I think you're right. Let yourself be a child. Like,
Yeah.
don't jump right in. Like, let yourself really have, because those college years are fun. So they're important.
I had a lot of fun in college, and I am grateful that Facebook was just starting then. I'm just so happy I didn't live in the world of now in college, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so you ended up moving to Los Angeles. How did you handle such a big move like that? Because that could be pretty daunting.
Yeah, I actually, it's so funny because during my BFA we did a showcase in New York, and I went to New York and I was terrified of New York. I couldn't figure anything out. It's a grid system. It's the easiest city to get around, and I was like, nope, this isn't for me. I need to go to Los Angeles. I had like meetings. I think, at the time it's so interesting because New York felt more like where I should have gone. And I had never been to LA, and I still just blindly moved. Even though everybody was like, what? Like, you have someone interested over here, and no one was interested over here. And I was like, not right over here. And I kind of just trusted my path. How I handled that big move was really just kind of, I found my tribe very quickly. Not even seeking them out, I just put myself in the right situations. I got immediately involved in things that felt familiar. Like I got involved in a theater, like we opened. My first manager and I opened a theater together. That really kind of saved me. I made those core friends, and I moved out with a few people from my college. And I think it just kind of, I didn't let LA become anything scary for me. I just kept it very manageable, because LA is really whatever you make of it, right?
Mhm.
Like you can go do the party scene if you want, or you can do a different scene. It's all about what you choose. So it just never was a scary thing, which is probably not a good thing, but it was never a scary thing for me, honestly.
So would you say those connections that you made, like whoever you moved with and whoever you met when you were first there, were some of the most important, like the most important part about your career, like the trajectory of your career?
Yeah, it's so crazy because a guy I was dating at the time, who not my husband now, we broke up very shortly after moving to Los Angeles. Had it not been for this relationship that I was in college, I wouldn't have met my first manager. And through my first manager, she was a teacher, just an absolute, she's an absolutely wonderful human. And I, through her, met my best friend who married my husband and I, who like has been a defining character in my life and will be a defining character in my life for the rest of my life. And it's just so interesting because those people, those core people, one of my best friends in the entire world, came from college. I think that very much did shape how I have stayed who I am through all of it, and therefore affecting career. But yeah.
Yeah, you're filled with great advice. So thank you so much for sharing this all with us. And
Yeah.
so your first big break was in FX Justified. Very exciting. So what was it like? What was that whole experience like? Like your first big break and kind of getting out there?
Yeah, Justified is even more so than I can say today, just because I can't, was even more how Justified became a big break for me. It was never supposed to be like that. I was supposed to be on for one episode as a co star. And just because of some things that happened, I got a very lucky break. And it quickly became from a 7 line co star to 6 pages of dialogue with Tim, and that became my first recurring, and only because of this weird universe thing that happened, and I was ready and I could memorize the lines very quickly, and it was just that really, it was such a cool experience. It's something I think about often, and I have a lot of people like reach out because Justified is such a loved, still to this day show, and it's just, I couldn't have asked for a better experience on a set. It was just incredible.
Yeah. And was that like probably not your first professional set, but that was like your first reoccurring role. And how did you deal with like making that transition?
It came very easily, because I will say my first television credit was on Scandal. I had 5 lines with the beautiful Kerry Washington, and it was all kind of part of the journey, right? Like when I first met her, I've learned pieces through every single show I've worked on, and so it was a natural kind of just roadmap. Everything felt very, very lucky. I felt very protected. Like the first thing I ever got to do was with Joan Rivers. And like what like that like and it's like, so when you start there and you're like, wow, and I got to play myself. And then you get to work on these incredible shows. It didn't ever feel like oh, this is a big moment, I better not mess this up. It was a wow, how cool. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. And it was just, I think that ride, every single job has been that. So there was never a moment of like, oh God, this is good. I need to take deep breaths before I come out of this trailer. It was always like, yes, let's do it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I am being paid to do this kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were also in a few episodes of Days of Our Lives. Did filming such a long-running soap opera differ from some of the other TV series that you've been on?
I will tell you, I love Days of Our Lives. And I'm not just saying I loved it after everything. Like, really, Days of Our Lives was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. The soap actors, they are no joke, y'all. They know so much dialogue. I left with my mouth open. You do it in one take. Like the series, like the contract roles get, if they want another take, They don't. They're professionals. They're doing it in one. So you better be ready with your 6 pages and you better deliver because they don't have time to wait on you. And I have such a respect for soaps. No joke, mouth on floor. That was, that was probably the only moment in my career that I've been in the dressing room being like, don't you drop a line. Don't you even think about changing a line. It's like, and it was such a rush, and I loved everyone I worked with. And so getting to be part of, and very special, my mom's soap is Days of Our Lives. And when I was growing up, I would watch it. So it was like the Stefano days, super hot. And so to go be on that soap was like a really cool full circle experience for me.
That's so cool. I also had no idea that they do that in one take.
Let
That's
me tell you
insane.
something. It's insane. It is a marathon. You better be ready for the Olympics on a soap. And I can't tell you, everyone who's I've talked to about my time on a soap, I can't speak highly. I could talk all day about how talented those actors are. It's insane. So
Yeah, no, that seems really cool. And I mean, so kind of getting into Taste of Love now, which congratulations. We're so excited to talk about it. But what is it like working with Hallmark and Lifetime, which are two companies that produce such iconic movies?
when I first moved to LA, I said to myself, I was like, all I want to do is do a Hallmark movie and a Lifetime movie. I quickly added to that list because when you know what I mean. But they're so different and so magical. I love Hallmark movies. I love Lifetime movies. My first big lead was a Lifetime movie, and it was such an amazing experience in 2015. They're such an incredible company. Hallmark is okay. I'm Aaron, everyone I've worked with at Hallmark, they're genuinely wonderful humans. Like the sweetness you see is real and it's not an act. So it's been this like transformative experience of I'm blown away by how sweet Erin is, and that's how I think of Hallmark. If that makes she is Hallmark to me. She is like the presence and the being of Hallmark, and they're both just incredible, and they've made such a mark because they do such sweet films, and it's just good, just sweet and good.
Yeah, definitely. And like I don't know, they're just like you said, they're known for such sweet films, like heartwarming and very just feel good and sometimes a little sad, but I don't know.
Sometimes it's sad. Sometimes they play at different emotions where you're like, Hallmark, why would you do me dirty like that? But it's like we need to feel that. And I think, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. And it's nice sometimes to just watch something that makes you feel really sweet and really good. And so I think that was probably the coolest part, to be part of a movie that does that for people.
Yeah, definitely.
So how did you get involved with A Taste of Love? Did you have to audition, and what was that like?
I did. One of the producers is one of my dear, dear, dear friends. I love him so much. We met a few years ago, and one of my favorite people, and he's producing A Taste of Love. And I had to audition like everybody else. Because I know Steven, I was getting like the inside details of like if I was still in the running. And there's only so much your friends can do. And I wanted to do it so bad because I love playing a villain. She's a fun villain. And when we got the call, it was so funny because they didn't get to hire me right away. Because they were like locking other things and figuring out everything, and because we were shooting in Florida, and I had booked another job, and I remember getting the call from Steven. I was like, yeah, I want to do it all. And he's like, we will do it all, like, because it was like the boys that picked me. And it was just like, it was a fun ride, especially because a friend was producing. So like hearing all the behind the scenes of like what's going on. And as an actor, when I first auditioned, if I hadn't had this friend who was giving me kind of the little snippets of where we were in the conversations, I wouldn't have heard anything for, it's been a few years, so please forgive me, but like, I think a couple months. So it's like, as an actor, you're like, well, dead in the water. And like, you have no idea, you have no clue. So it's like that golden rule of you tape and you let it go. And so for me, that was such a cool experience. If I'm like, wow, I wouldn't have known for a while. Like, and I was always in the running, and I had no news till I had news. So yeah.
And I think kind of how you brought up Linda. So we want to know all about your character, anything you can say about her so far. Linda from A Taste of Love, what is her background? How is she a villain? Was she fun to play? Like, give us all the deets.
She's so fun to play. I don't think, it's so funny because she is a villain. She's the villain of the story, but at the same time, nobody's a villain in their own story. Linda's misunderstood. Linda she just wants to be the best. And, it's the background is kind of, she always looked up to Aaron's character, and Aaron left to become this big deal. And so Linda became the big chef in like their town. And now Aaron's back. And poor Linda, I really think we need to have some more tears for Linda. She wanted the boy, everything. Poor Linda. But no, she was fun, and it was really hard to have any kind of malice towards Aaron while filming, because you have to feel these things, right? You're coming from a place of feeling hurt or feeling that something was taken from you. So to have that towards Aaron, the nicest person in the world, it's kind of hard because you can't help but love her. So, but that's kind of Linda in a nutshell. She just, she's not bad. She's just drawn that way.
But
Does anyone get Roger Rabbit? No.
now we have to know, because of Linda's backstory. Do you cook, or are you a baker? Like any of that?
I am. I'm a baker. I'm a cooker. I cook, and it's great. But that was probably my favorite thing. Chef's outfits, not so flattering on me. You know what I mean? I learned that lesson hard way in the movie. But yeah, it was so fun because it's just something. And me, Ashley, I love to bake and I love to cook. So it was fun to bring those little pieces of me as a real person into the movie.
Definitely. And I feel like that always makes the character more realistic too. When you have parts of yourself in that character and you're really able to hone in on that.
I think we always do, right? Like even when you're playing someone who you would never do some of those things, there's some piece of you that's alive, and that's why we connect. It's like, the greats like Jack Nicholson. Like when you watch him play a role where you're like, that's not. There's a piece of him that's real, and I think that's why we connect with another human in something.
Yeah.
So.
I'm so super excited to see this movie. But what are you most excited for viewers to see when they watch A Taste of Love?
The sunset scene that I'm not even in, it's like it won't make sense till you see it, and they're like, why was she so pumped? She's not even in this scene. It's the most beautiful scene. They did such a great job. And I remember when I saw the cut and I saw the scene, I was like, how did they get the sun to cooperate? Like, who did we pay to get them on like the moment? Because there is one scene between not me and another not me character that's beautiful, and it just was so genuinely striking, and it was just cinematic. I mean, genius. So that's the scene I'm most excited for. It was just perfect.
Well, we'll definitely be on the lookout. And
Sunset. Yeah.
I have to ask, do you have any plans for the premiere coming up?
No, I'm here working, so I'm on a different project, and so that's kind of where my mind is. And I'm actually, when will this air? Before I say this on,
It will air after the premiere of the show.
Beautiful. Well, I'm doing a surprise visit to my grandmother for her 78th birthday. So on the actual premiere, that is where I will be. I got a break from what I'm doing right now just to be able to surprise her and take that lady to eat some crab legs. That's all she wants for her 78th birthday. So my husband and I are flying in town to do it. So that's why I won't be there for that.
So sweet. You know what? I like your work-life balance, because you need to make sure that you are there for your family as well.
Yeah, it's important to me, and my grandmother is very, very important. And I think in this career, like I said earlier, I knew I wasn't going to get to be close to home for probably the rest of my life. So I always want to take the moment to surprise them and like be there for something, even if it's only a second, a day, I'll do it. So
That's so sweet. And I think that really speaks to who you are as a person. And I think that shows that you've kept so grounded in an industry where it's easy to let it get to your head and really feel like you're above. So I think that just is a testament to who you are.
thank you. That's very kind. Thanks for saying.
No, you're welcome. And here at Entertainment Roadmap, we love to have our talent sit down in the hot seat. Would you like to join?
Oh, yes, I'll even sit back down to the like cool seat. Give it to me.
So your favorite animal?
Cats. We all saw that coming in the three.
Um, Apple or Android?
Apple. Oh my God. Jeez. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then my watch picked up on that.
Oh no. I'm waiting for like Siri or something.
We heard that Noah said Apple, and she goes, speaking for myself, Apple.
Oh no. I'm telling you, it's the biggest world.
What's your favorite thing to bake?
Brussels sprouts.
Ooh. I'll need to hit you up for some recipes.
I got you. Call me, call me, call me. They're so good.
Favorite book, TV series, or movie right now?
Um, I'm rewatching for the first time for me is Suits. Big fan. Huge. It's incredible. And I just finished the entire series of Court of Thorns and Roses. Anyone else
I
into
haven't
it?
read it.
I haven't read that yet, but I know a lot of people who have.
Yes.
I'm not okay after finishing that series. If they don't make it and make it well, and I have a cast list in my head that it needs to live up to, I'm going to be so disappointed because it's good.
And I also feel with Suits, like I'm such a big Troy and Belisario fan who's married to Patrick J. Adams. So I feel like I have to watch it at some point, especially because I know she makes some guest appearances.
Yes, I actually have such a funny story. She was one of the kindest people. She would not remember me at all, but she sat down with me when I first moved to LA because we had a mutual friend who's one of her best friends. And I was just getting advice from everyone I could. And just like a genuinely, probably one of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. She didn't know me. She won't remember, but she took time to like answer my questions. And like,
I have a
so
follow-up story with that. I went to a little convention before I started college, and she spoke there, and I asked her a question, and she gave me advice. So
yeah,
there's like our little connecting moment.
I
She's
love
such
it.
a sweetheart. Yeah,
That's so nice.
I love her. We have the same birthday, so I'm always like, "Good."
I love that. I love that.
And then, who's an actor or director that you'd love to work with one day?
Um, For me, it's okay. No one make fun of me when I answer the director comment, but it's Taylor Swift because she directs like so many of her music videos. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I told to stop talking about Taylor Swift so much, but I can't. She's in my DNA. And Reese Witherspoon as an actor, like I think she's a powerhouse of awesomeness. So she's my top, and I'm just like calling her into me every chance I get.
That manifestation.
Mhm. Well,
Yes.
isn't Taylor Swift? I heard that she is going to be directing a film soon. So
That's the
fingers crossed.
rumor. It's the
Yes.
rumor. I've gone deep down the conspiracy rabbit hole. So anytime someone asks director, I'm like, well, there's this thing I'm calling in. Yes, that's the rumor. So,
What's
Mhm.
your favorite Taylor Swift song?
okay. It's You're Losing Me. It's like I've never been so cut. And the fact that that's her real heartbeat and you hear it and then you hear it stop. I cry every time I hear that song. I think she is such a genius with the way she paints a story for us in her life. So I cannot wait for this new album.
Me
Excited.
too.
Did you know that she just sang You're Losing Me live in Melbourne?
Oh girl. I have written it to everyone on like I have a friend who is just as big a Taylor Swift. We went to the one in LA and I was like, do you see how angry she is in this video? Like we're about to get the best album of our life. And I did. It broke my heart, honestly. I think that song is so gorgeously heartbreaking.
I remember when it first came out, I remember just sitting there listening to it sobbing, and I'm like, I don't even know
Sobbing.
why I'm crying.
Mhm.
I literally made my husband sit down and I was like, you have to hear this song. You have to hear this song. I'm not okay. When was it done? Like, and then everybody started the like strings to the pictures of trying to figure out when they broke up. Yeah, it was God, it's such a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister plays it in the car a lot, and
Yeah.
it's always a very emotional drive.
But you can't. You just end up
Oh, yeah.
singing, tears falling.
Mhm.
You're not even sad. You could be going to get a puppy that day, and you're just like, oh God,
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful.
Yeah.
I just think it's so good. Such a good one.
Mhm.
So you heard it here first at Entertainment Roadmap. Ashley Dulaney for Taylor Swift's next film or first film.
Call it in for me, please. Yes.
We'll be manifesting
Yes.
that for you.
Thank you.
Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today. This was such a great interview, and we loved hearing all your experiences, and you had some of the best advice. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me. I loved it. Thank you all so much. It was nice to meet you all.